Alright, let's talk about The Thorn Birds, one of the biggest American TV miniseries from the 1980s. If you're into classic romance, sweeping family drama, and a little forbidden love, this one's totally worth a look. So, what is it? The Thorn Birds is a 4-episode miniseries, aired over 4 back-to-back nights on ABC way back in March 1983. Altogether, it's almost 8 hours of drama, so yeah, grab your snacks and get comfy. It's actually based on Colleen McCullough's hit 1977 novel, and even though it's set in Australia, most of it was filmed in California and Hawaii. Movie magic, right? Let's get into the story. The whole thing centres on the Cleary family, Irish immigrants who settle on a sheep station called Drogheda in the Australian outback. It spans from the 1920s through the 1960s. Lots of time for secrets, heartbreak, and big decisions. Here's who you're watching. Meggie Cleary, Rachel Ward, the only daughter in a bunch of brothers who falls for a guy she absolutely shouldn't because he's a priest. Father Ralph de Bricassar, Richard Chamberlain, who's torn between ambition in the Catholic Church and his feelings for Meggie. Talk about a moral dilemma. And, of course, Mary Carson, Barbara Stanwyck, the super-rich and very cunning owner of Drogheda, who stirs up a ton of trouble because she also wants Father Ralph. You get decades of love, loss, betrayal, big ambitions, and family drama. Think forbidden love, tough life choices, and that whole your heart versus what's right situation. The cast, by the way, is stacked. Richard Chamberlain as Father Ralph, Rachel Ward as Meggie, Barbara Stanwyck as Mary Carson, Christopher Plummer as Cardinal Conteneva Chasey, Brian Brown as Meggie's husband, Luke, Gene Simmons and Richard Kiley as Meggie's parents, Mayor Winningham and Philip Anglim as Meggie's kids, and Piper Laurie as the family's friend Anne. Behind the scenes, they actually wanted to make it a movie at first, but the book is huge, so it worked better as a miniseries. Fun fact, Barbara Stanwyck only agreed to play Mary Carson after they promised her a really juicy party scene, and they delivered. Even though you're supposed to feel like you're down under, it's all California wine country and the tropical parts are shot in Hawaii. And yes, they brought in over 200 sheep to make it feel like real Aussie outback life. We can't forget the music. Henry Mancini did the score, and it's one of his most famous. The theme song won a Golden Globe, and the soundtrack actually sold really well. So, did people watch? Oh yeah, over 30 million viewers tuned in each night. It became the second most watched miniseries in US TV history back then, right after Roots. Critics were kind of mixed. Some thought it was over the top, but most agreed the acting was top-notch, especially Richard Chamberlain, Rachel Ward and Barbara Stanwyck. It also cleaned up on awards, 6 Emmys, a bunch of Golden Globes, including Best Miniseries, Best Actor and Actress, and even a Peabody Award for Great TV Storytelling. Culturally, The Thorn Birds made Richard Chamberlain the go-to miniseries guy of the 80s after his big run with Shogun. The forbidden romance between Meggie and Father Ralph became one of TV's big talking points, and the show made Colleen McCullough's original novel even more popular. If you like sweeping, dramatic love stories, this was the one in the 80s. They even tried to do a sequel years later, The Thorn Birds, The Missing Years, though it didn't get the same love as the original. So if you hear people mention The Thorn Birds, now you know. It's all about love, drama, family, and some really unforgettable TV history. Check it out if you're feeling nostalgic, or just want to see what all the fuss was about.